They say if you stand alone in the Pine Barrens of New Jersey on a moonless night, you'll hear it before you see it. A piercing scream that cuts through the darkness. Not quite human. Not quite animal. Something in between. Something wrong. Locals call it the Jersey Devil, a creature that has haunted New Jersey for nearly 3 centuries. And tonight, we are going to uncover the terrifying truth behind one of America's oldest and darkest legends. The story begins in the early 1700s, when the land was still wild and untamed. Before the highways, before the lights, when the Pine Barrens stretched endless and black. There, in a lonely cabin at Leeds Point, lived a woman known only as Mother Leeds. Poor, exhausted, 13 children. And when she discovered she was pregnant again, she cursed the unborn child in despair. "Let this one be a devil," she whispered. The night the child was born, a storm raged across the pines. Lightning split the sky, thunder shook the walls, and the cries of the newborn filled the air. But within minutes, those cries changed. They twisted into something monstrous. The baby grew hooves where feet should be. A tail, long and thin, coiled around the cradle. Wings tore through its back, slick with blood. And its face, once human, stretched into that of a beast. They say it turned on its mother. They say it shrieked so loud the window shattered. And then, it flew straight up the chimney and disappeared into the storm. From that night on, the Pine Barrens belonged to something else. For centuries, the legend of the Jersey Devil has refused to die. Farmers claimed their livestock was slaughtered overnight. Hunters returned from the woods pale and shaking. And sometimes, people didn't return at all. The year 1909 brought the terror to its peak. It began with a few sightings, strange tracks in the snow, like hoofprints, but with only 2 feet. Then came the reports of a flying creature gliding over rooftops, screaming into the night. In Camden, people saw it on the rooftops. In Trenton, police fired at it and missed. Even in Philadelphia, newspapers printed headlines calling it the Devil of the Pines. Schools closed. Factories shut down. Parents kept their children home. For one frozen week, New Jersey lived in fear of the thing in the sky. And then, just as suddenly, it vanished. Decades passed, but the silence never lasted long. In the 1950s, a forest ranger named Tom Willis was patrolling near Batstow Village. He heard a cry that froze him where he stood. When he lifted his flashlight, 2 red eyes stared down from a tree. The creature crouched there, wings folded, skin gray like old leather. When the beam of light touched its face, it spread its wings and dove straight at him. Willis fell, the light shattered, and the forest went black. He left his job a week later and never went back to the Barrens. The sightings continued through the years. A couple driving near the Mullica River swore a wing shape landed in front of their car. They crashed into a ditch. When the police arrived, the hood of the car was torn with deep gouges, as if by claws. Truck drivers, hikers, even hunters told the same story. A creature walking on hooves, standing upright, with wings that filled the night sky. But the Pine Barrens hold more than stories. They hold evidence. Footprints pressed deep into the mud, only to vanish mid-stride. Campsites ripped apart, the trees around them scorched as if something had burned through the air. And those who venture too deep sometimes hear voices, soft at first, like whispers carried on the wind. Then a scream that no living creature could make. There was one man who tried to prove it wasn't real. His name was Mark Davis, a historian from Egg Harbor. In 1998, he set out alone with a camera and a recorder. He wanted to debunk the legend once and for all. He camped near a place called the Blue Hole, a deep pool hidden in the woods, where no fish swim and no birds sing. He recorded himself describing the history, the geography, the myths. Then, 20 minutes into the tape, everything changed. His voice dropped to a whisper. He said he heard something moving outside his tent. Not footsteps. Not an animal. Something heavier. He breathed faster. He said, "It's close." Then came the scream. Loud, sharp, inhuman. The sound of something hitting the tent. The recorder fell. And the tape ended in static. 2 days later, searchers found his camp. The tent was torn to shreds. The ground was burned in a perfect circle. No tracks. No blood. No Mark Davis. Only the melted remains of his camera and the recorder. Since that night, others have tried to find the blue hole. Some say the water then never ripples, even in the wind. Others claim they've seen shapes moving beneath the surface, black shadows twisting like smoke. The few who've gone swimming never stay long. They say the water pulls at them, like invisible hands dragging them down. The Pine Barrens keep their secrets, but people still go searching. Thrill seekers, YouTubers, ghost hunters. Some come back with shaky footage, claiming to capture eyes glowing in the darkness. Others swear they heard wings beating above them, though the trees were still. And sometimes, a camera keeps recording after the person holding it runs. No one knows what the Jersey Devil truly is. Some say it was never human, that it's a demon older than the colonies. Others believe it was summoned by witchcraft and bound to the forest forever. There are even those who think it's something else entirely, a guardian of the Barrens, punishing those who trespass too deep. What makes the legend so chilling isn't just the stories. It's the fact that they keep happening. In 2015, a man driving through Galloway Township snapped a photo of something crossing the road. A creature with wings spread wide and eyes glowing bright. The photo went viral. People called it fake, a hoax, a trick of the light. But experts who analyzed it couldn't explain the reflection in the eyes. And the GPS data showed the photo was taken only 2 miles from the ruins of the original Leeds home. Even today, locals refuse to enter the woods after sunset. They hear screams echoing through the trees. They find animal carcasses drained of blood. Sometimes, in winter, they wake to hoofprints in the snow that lead to their doors, and stop there. The Jersey Devil has become part of New Jersey itself. It's on sports teams, in roadside art, in ghost tours. But beneath the jokes and the t-shirts, there's a shadow that never leaves. A story that never dies because something keeps writing new chapters. So what if Mother Leeds' curse was real? What if that 13th child was born not from sin, but from sorrow? Curses are powerful things. They feed on anger, on fear, and maybe, after centuries of whispers, that curse has grown into something we can't understand. Imagine standing in the middle of those woods. The air thick, the pine needles crunching under your boots, the silence pressing down on you until your heartbeat sounds too loud. Then, far off, a cry, faint, distant, but unmistakable. You freeze. You listen. It comes again, closer this time. You tell yourself it's just an animal. But deep down, you know. It's watching you. It always has been. The Pine Barrens stretch across more than 1 million acres. That's 1 million acres of places to hide. 1 million acres of shadows. And somewhere in those shadows, wings are waiting. Maybe the devil isn't a monster. Maybe it's a reminder of the things we create when we are afraid, of how darkness grows when no one believes it's real. Because every time someone laughs at the legend, the woods seem to grow a little quieter. And that's when it happens again. Another sighting. Another scream. Another name added to the long, dark list of those who've seen the impossible. The truth is, legends don't survive this long unless something keeps them alive. And out there, in the cold heart of New Jersey, something still flies beneath the trees. It's been seen by police, by soldiers, by children who didn't know the story until they saw it with their own eyes. They all describe the same thing: hooves, wings, a face that shouldn't exist. You can call it a myth. You can call it a story. But when the wind changes and the forest goes still, remember this: some legends are born from fear and others from something real. If you ever find yourself driving through southern New Jersey at night, slow down when you reach the edge of the pines. Turn off your radio. Roll down your window. Listen. If you hear wings above you, don't look up. And if you hear a scream that makes your blood turn cold, run. Because the Jersey Devil doesn't haunt stories. It haunts the living. And maybe it's closer than you think.